The story of Beast Quest has you hacking and slashing through a fantasy tale about freeing 4 beasts and then defeating the ultimate bad guy. You play as Tom, who is given a tunic, a sword, and a shield, and you have to go out and save the land. I know this game is based off of a book series, but this sounds very similar to another series made by Nintendo. But I can't say its name here because Nintendo will hit me with a copyright claim. The story is entertaining at first, even with some humor, and I do like the lighter tone for its approach.
Wow! A knight's gauntlet! I wonder what happened.
Fear not, lad. I am the good wizard Aduro, and it... Oh, oops. Sorry. Here, what was I saying? Ah, yes. Fear not, lad. I am the good wizard Aduro. The magical key, you know.
But the story never really gets any interesting, and the humor quickly disappears. The story did not provide that motivational force that you need to kind of add some meaning to the combat. The gameplay centers around you following a linear path where you collect keys to open up chests that contain gold, or you fight enemies. There isn't much in the form of exploring. There are side quests to complete, but they pretty much consist of your basic fetch quests or kill quests, and there's no real meaty story behind them. The meat of the gameplay will be in the battles. The game switches to an arena type setting where you can move around the battle sideways and essentially button mash your way to victory. As you attack, you increase your magic power, and then you can unleash some spells on your enemies. You have a destructive ice power that hurts all the enemies on screen, and then later in the game it just takes out everyone you hit. As you fight enemies and complete quests, you'll gain experience points, which you can then use to unlock new spells, improve your health, and attack power and defense. The fighting is pretty mindless, but rather fun, and you can beat many of the fights just by mashing on the attack button and keeping an eye on your health. The game allows for you to upgrade your potion capacities, but there isn't a marker on the map for the vendor to let you do this. So I kind of just came across this gentleman who was dressed a little bit differently and decided to talk to him, and found out I could actually do this. I feel like they should have marked it on the map like who this vendor was or where he was. Most RPGs do this so you know where to locate them. The game has a few boss fights. You fight the boss a few times throughout the level until they are actually defeated. There isn't much variation in the multiple encounters that you'll have with the same boss fight, so they kind of feel like padding. Though the second boss fight was a little bit more interesting than the first because the second one essentially starts throwing snowballs at you, and you have to try to dodge him as you work your way up to move into attack. The third boss was back to normal encounters. The platforming in this game is awful. Your character cannot grab onto ledges as you jump from one stone to another, and this is really frustrating because you need to get enough momentum to be able to get to the next stone, but you can't grab onto anything. The other problem is too is your character feels very unresponsive and awkward to jump with. It's like he has a 1 or 2 second delay every time you jump, and this caused me to miss many jumps. It's awkward, it feels really old and dated, and not in a good way. The big issue of the game is that I lost interest in it. The game gets very tedious as you move to each new area, defeating the same enemies, doing the same rock slider puzzles, doing the same bad platforming, and then fighting the same boss several times. I started to really lose interest within the ice area, and then I completely lost interest by the time I got into the mountain area. The game is a rather casual experience. In many areas it feels like a kid's game. The visuals are very basic and they lack any sort of flair to them. I don't expect every game to have high-end graphics, but a decent art style can really make up for not having that power. The music is familiar fantasy tunes, with it even having its own bombastic hero theme that I really enjoyed. While Beast Quest is very rough around the edges and it did entertain me for a short while, it ultimately failed to capture my attention. The story had promise but feels very uninspired. The combat, while interesting and mindless, is entertaining at first, but then quickly grows tedious as you continue with the game. The music has one highlight in its bombastic hero track. The game is going for $40 right now, and I can't recommend it at that price. For most gamers, I would not recommend this game. But if you still want to try this for yourself, I would say try this on a very deep sale. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed my quickish thoughts on Beast Quest, check out some of my other reviews, and if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. There'll be a link at the end of this video and down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.